Welcome into a Sports Call Overtime, a YouTube exclusive here on the YouTube channel for Sports Call Auburn. I am Brooks Childress along with Connor Knight. We're here recapping the World Cup group stage for the U.S. men's national team, finishing with a 2-1 record on the group stage, wins over Paraguay, wins over Australia, and then a disappointing loss at the end to Turkey to finish things out. But they are the group winners and on to the round of 32 where they will face Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm sure I butchered that, or it's a pronunciation of it, but it should be a really fun match. Connor, looking back at the group stage, what was your biggest takeaway from the U.S.?
I think, other than last night, I think it was just the American team played with a lot of ferocity and always was the aggressor and for the majority of their matches, which is something you're not used to seeing, especially from the U.S. side. And I think it was a testament to Pochettino and the team that he's created and sort of melded together here. That's really been aggressive and has always been pressing, and it's really been something that I think has put the other countries on notice this World Cup. That hey, this is not your normal U.S. soccer team. This team has a potential. One, it's playing on its home soil, and two, it's playing really well. And last night, let the backups get in, get them some minutes. So you didn't like the outcome, but you did like the intensity they played with.
Both or all three games for the U.S. The U.S. got out to strong start, scoring early against Paraguay, ended up winning that one 4-1, scoring early against Australia, ended up winning that 2-0. And then, of course, scoring early against Turkey, fell in that one at 3-2. Connor, when you look at the way that the U.S. has started, do you really, I know it's a very positive thing, but what's been your thoughts about how they've started matches? You talk about them being an aggressor in these matches so far.
Yeah, and it's really set the tempo for the rest of the game and how they've been able to play. I mean, these early goals have let them sort of, always been the attacker, and they've allowed the defense sort of to play reactive, where they can sort of they know the attack. Their team's always making the attack. It's Pulisic and Wes McKennie this tournament so far has been one of the top players for America. Absolutely. In the midfield, just doing everything, making passes, shooting. Just cannot talk about him enough. But those type of players are really, really when the U.S. scores early has been a huge key so far in this World Cup. It's again just allowed the entire defense to sort of, we got the goal, we can press up. We know we have Tim Ream back there, old captain. He's out there controlling the field. He's making the right plays, and you got Chris Richards and other players. It's been really, really good for the U.S. to score early. Again, you liked what you saw last night when the U.S. scored early, and then Turkey scored, and then Turkey scored again, and then the U.S. came right back and scored again and tied it up. And it was something that you hadn't seen in the World Cup so far from America, just because they'd really been dominating, and you were kind of wondering what the internal intensitude of this team was sort of made of, and it kind of showed last night.
You look at the U.S. versus Turkey, and you mentioned it, a unique challenge that was presented there. You had to fight from you got in front, and then went down, had to fight through it, ended up losing at the death. Do you think that the game against Turkey, and even though you didn't really play your starters, you had 9 changes to the starting 11 than you had the previous game against Australia. Do you think that's a type of performance that U.S. fans need to be worried about, or would you rather classify it as a performance that the fans can look at and the team can look at as prepare you for what's going to happen, what could happen in the group in the knockout stages?
I think it's the latter. I think it prepared. Did a really good job of preparing the U.S. and the U.S. fans for what happens in these knockout stages. It's going to be a lot of pressure. Teams are going to be trying to win no matter the cost, and that's something I think Turkey did last night very well. I mean, they felt like they had nothing to lose at all. I mean, they'd already been eliminated. They're like, we're just going to we want to win at least one game. You could really tell by the intensity they played last night with. But I think it was good. I think the U.S. needed to be knocked in its teeth to see how it reacted, and I liked the way it reacted. It didn't lie down. It kept fighting, kept trying to score. Even though the crowd kind of got out of it after those 2 quick goals by Turkey, I think even that the U.S. got back in the game. That was the main thing you wanted to see out of them, was if the U.S. got punched in the mouth, how do they react? I think they reacted in the right way.
News came out this week at the end of the week as well that the U.S. is trying to go ahead and lock up head coach Mauricio Pochettino for the next World Cup cycle and keep him as the U.S. men's national team coach. I know we still haven't finished out this World Cup, and we don't know what's going to happen in that round of 32. Do you think that's a smart move?
I do. I think, look, the way he's had this team playing currently in this World Cup and the lead up to it has been some of the best, we've seen out of the U.S. national team. And some of that's the talent, but I think a lot of that goes to the way he plays and what he does with teams. He's a coach that gets the most out of his players. He makes them be energetic and stay focused and locked in. I think it shows on the pitch. It's been really, really positive, and can't talk about it enough.
Let's go ahead now and flip the page to the knockout round for the U.S. It's going to be Wednesday. It's going to be in Santa Clara, California, a stadium that the U.S. has not played in yet this World Cup. They've gone back and forth between L.A. and Seattle for their 3 matches. They're going to be in San Fran. It's been a lively environment in San Fran, but they're playing Bosnia and Herzegovina. Again, don't criticize my pronunciation. Another UEFA team. You come off playing Turkey. Not a good result for you. Going back to the pre-World Cup friendlies, not a good result against Germany, not a good result against Portugal, not a good result against Belgium. So that is, 4 UEFA teams leading into the World Cup, and now you got to play a 5th one. How is this one going to be different than the other UEFA teams that the U.S. has played?
I think that Bosnia is, of course, like you said, they're a UEFA team, but it's a smaller country. They got a little bit less talent. They still are very talented now. They've got some great wingers. I believe one of them is Alaba Jeric, who has been fantastic. I believe he plays in the Netherlands for Feyenoord. Just a lot of solid players on this Bosnian team, but I think the U.S., if playing all of its starters, should have this one relatively. It's one of those matches where I think the U.S.'s talent level is far and away way better than Bosnia, and I think the star power for the U.S. is really going to show through with McKinney and Pulisic and Tillman and Balogun, and some of these other players are going to really show out.
Bosnia finishing 3rd in their group. That's why they're taking on the U.S., who was the group winner. Bosnia, as a reminder to everybody, the team that knocked Italy out of World Cup contention during World Cup qualifying over in Europe. So it's not a pushover team, but as Connor said, a lot of positivity to go into this game against Bosnia and Herzegovina. The U.S. favorites as the group winners. We'll see what happens Wednesday night in Santa Clara. Connor, thanks so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I'm Brooks Childress. This is Sports Call Overtime exclusive on YouTube. Tune in again next time.